Alright, as we are going to go ahead and welcome you guys in. This is a pretty exciting game for our first game of playoffs. We did finish up the round robin a little bit earlier in the week, but now moving into the playoff section, we are going to start with our first game, World Enders versus Damnation. I think this is a pretty high-stake games for both of these teams. They all know each other pretty well. They have all been on teams together in the past, so the fact that they've broken up into these two separate rosters is definitely interesting. And it's going to be a little bit of an ego kind of game to figure out who was able to create the better roster and who's gonna come out with the win. As I am Stu, I'm joined by Dilly tonight. We're gonna have a very exciting series.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good one between these two teams.
Yep, as we did see, the bands coming through. They did come through pretty rapid fire, but Ezreal being just the meta ADC pick, taking that away. The rest of it has mostly been targeted towards the target bands, towards the enemy players. Rengar being Adam's most notable character, as well as the Garen and the Wukong for Ugu in the top lane, means that they're going to take those away and make sure that they don't have those picks, as it looks like we could potentially see a B1 Victor. I think Tanner might be rolling in his grave right now, but it's definitely a fine pick for them to make a composition out of.
Yeah, he might be rolling in his grave, but it could also very well be a placeholder for World Enders just because that they don't own most of the champions on a lot of these accounts.
Very true. As a lot of them are EU, so they are using not as established accounts. So we'll have to see if it is a placeholder. I'm not seeing any messages come through, so it looks like this is just a straight Victor pickup. A little bit of an interesting B1. You're kind of showing your hand with the mid lane, and Victor definitely does have some unplayable matchups. So we'll have to see if it is within Raul's champ pool in order to punish that, or if Damnation are going to look to pick something more for jungle or for top lane. They do have all the options available, as Diana is picked up. Is most likely going into the jungle. I think there's an argument to be made for it in the mid lane, but Diana jungle has been way more popular than we've seen her in the mid lane in recent times.
Definitely more popular in the jungle. Raul in the mid lane loves to play it though. I'm not too sure how the Diana Victor matchup goes, but it's probably not that great for Diana. It's probably pretty even, so it's probably going to be in the jungle as we see the Ashe picked up with the second pick.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Ashe has been a little bit of a sleeper pick in KDL. I think Jay has been popularizing it, especially with the what's the word I'm looking for?
Korean Dark Tech.
Yeah, the Korean Dark Tech with the Wit's End being picked up as a second item. I think it's been very popular, and I think a lot of people have just been kind of smashed by it and they're like, what the hell? How is this pick allowed? So they've been picking up and adding it into their pool. As it looks like Xayah will be used to answer. She did get that little R buff. So a little something that's nice for her to have, and we'll have to see what World Unders are looking to finish off their first phase of picks with.
Yeah, the R buff is nice, and the ADC for World Enders loves Xayah. It's his favorite champion, and we see the Rakan pick up to match with it.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting pickup. I think there's an argument to be made to be leaving off the Rakan until phase 2.
I think if they leave it off till phase 2, there's a pretty high likelihood that they ban it. But I also don't think that Xayah Rakan is necessarily the best bot lane. I think Xayah does well with lots of supports, particularly like Nautilus, Leona. She works well with the ones like that too.
Yeah, it's definitely something that Wardunders have to consider, as they are blinding the Rakan support. And Rakan does have some, awkward matchups like this Nautilus. He can still work around it and make things happen, but it really does inhibit his ability to play the game. And it doesn't allow him to get that kind of full momentum that he really wants. But the Nautilus pickup is a nice pickup to deny that, especially with the Ashe. Kind of makes your hook a lot more guaranteed.
Yeah, this Ashe slows or the Ashe arrow into the Nautilus CC, and Rakan's not going to be able to do what he wants to do, and that's dash around the team fight and charm everybody.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how they're looking to play out these fights, as it looks like Winners really want to push Damnation into a more team fighting style, banning away that Fiora, kind of the split pushing champion. So they want to make sure that it's not in Damnation's champ pool, making sure that they're not going to be able to pick it up, as Damnation are going to use their last ban on top of that volley. Another one of Adam's comfort picks, and it's definitely something that he has been known to have some success on in the past. So they're going to take that away, push him a little bit more into discomfort, as Wardenders have their last ban here. It's just sitting around 10 seconds before it's going to come in.
And interestingly enough, the Xin Zhao has not been banned or picked at this point. Pretty much in every game, I feel like it's been banned or picked at this point. It's another one of those really strong jungle picks.
Yeah, it's really interesting as well, because Crimson has had a high affinity for it and is like to just first pick it and just blind jungle that way. And interestingly enough, Xin Zhao is a very hard matchup for Diana, so I wonder why they were looking to ban that out instead of the Volibear, as it looks like it will be that Diana mid. So I think the jungle bans kind of gave it away in the second phase, but they did a nice job of hovering it or covering it, excuse me, in the first phase and making one unders unsure if that was a Diana mid or jungle. So a nice little use of the flex there in order to get some nice drafting power, as they are going to pick away the Xin Zhao now. And it looks like World Enders might be a little bit confused on what to pick. They are going to be taking their time with these last two picks. They do have B4 and B5, so we'll have to see what they go for. Olaf has been a nice counter that we've seen, especially in LCS. I think people like Blabber had a lot of success on it. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to have the same kind of success. As we are waiting on the last pick for World Enders now.
Yeah, and we're looking at the top lane. I'm expecting to see something that can frontline for them. It's definitely not going to be a Moo. And if they lock that in, that's most certainly a placeholder. I would think.
Yeah, I would assume so as well. As
Yep, and
we'll
a
have to
Moo
see.
is Tom Kench.
Okay, so it looks like it will be that Tompkins top. I think Itzy had a little bit of a strong performance on that in an in-house recently, and he wanted to get his top laner to start playing it, as Tompkins has been having a lot of play in the solo lanes ever since his mini rework. And it is definitely a little bit of an obnoxious pick, and the fact that there's a little bit of uncertainty about it makes it hard to tell what its strengths really are. As we are going to go ahead and get into the redraft here, but it looks like Mordekaiser will be the last pick for Damnation.
I think Mordekaiser is probably one of the better matchups into the Tom Kench as well. Just because of the consistent damage, it's magic damage. A lot of the champions that are going to want to duel top lane aren't going to go well into Tom Kench. He's just going to dominate that lane, and it's going to be super oppressive. You're not able to do anything.
Yeah, and Tom Kench is very obnoxious like that, where he can negate a lot of laners, especially in the top lane. And I think Mordekaiser is a fine pick into that, as you really are picking Mordekaiser to be that kind of weak side warrior. They want to put a lot of jungle pressure towards that bot lane, towards that mid lane, either get Diana snowballing or get the Ashe and Nautilus snowballing ahead, so that way they can just start eliminating people and leave Mordekaiser in the top lane. They just kind of hold the Tom Kench in lane. He has a decent enough wave clear that Tom Kench can't outpush him. So it will be very nice to kind of keep that, and we'll have to see how it works out for them, as we are just waiting for the player to get back in the lobby. For those of you who are unaware, we do redrafts occasionally for players who don't have all the champions or what have you. And due to the fact that these guys are EU accounts, they don't usually have all the champions. So the movement that they picked up is actually a Tom Kench. So we will be seeing Tom Kench in the top lane, and it looks like as well that Mordekaiser will be Darius. As the player has rejoined, so we're just waiting to go ahead and start the draft once again, and we'll go ahead and quickly speed through the draft.
I like the Darius into the Tom Kench as well, actually. I think just the percent health damage and the bleed really helps in the duels against him. If Darius takes a bad trade, though, he doesn't really have a way to get away from him, and he doesn't have a way to CC him so that he can just kind of get out of there. So he has to be pretty careful there.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that I do have to consider, as with that matchup, there's a lot of skill being put into the place. Like you said, if he does take a bad trade or if he does take a bad fight, he doesn't really have the ability to get out. We'll have to see what summoner spells he'll go. If he'll go for like the Ghost TP or the Ghost Flash, that could potentially help him if he does get into a bad trade. As
I think
we do.
we're gonna see an ABD XD ban on the left side, and is it looking like
I believe it's a BPM XD on
yeah,
the
a
right side.
BPM?
And you know, the classics of KDL, you can't really deny it.
No, ABDXD known to give you plus 10 AD at the start of the game.
Very true. And been a nice little buff that I've used in the past. As you're going to see the Tom Kench that the Darius picked up, that was the two replacement picks that we were talking about. Was the Crimson pick up the Xin Zhao, and that will be returned with the Olaf, and then we'll see the Victor in the mid lane. And then Raul will go ahead and pick up his Diana afterwards.
Both team comps kind of just want to run at each other. One isn't like a disengage and an engage. Both team comps just kind of want to go. Oh, and it looks
Oh,
like it's going to be Issy on support this game. So he's slotted into the mid lane right now, but I assume he's going to play support. He did this when he played against ABD as well.
yeah, Issy and their support are actually both kind of flexible players. They do tend to switch up to better match their champ pools. So it's a little bit interesting for them, as we are going to see a little bit of a role swap, and that'll be interesting. We could see them potentially swap back as well, as he has been perfectly fine in the mid lane, and both of these mid laners have been perfectly serviceable for this team, but they really just want to make the best they can out of the support pool. I think Issy has mostly been subbing into the bot lane when they're picking Rakan. Maybe he has a lot of fluency in that, especially with the Xayah Rakan lane. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely Issy's more proficient with the Rakan than their support 12 inches. Because last time that they picked it, he picked it and then was like, you know what, Issy, you're better at it. You play it down support. I'm going to go mid.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly serviceable as well. As it might just be for the mid lane champ pool as well, as Issy has mostly been playing like Galio, Set, champions that really just kind of want to, farm passively a little bit, then they want to walk around the map and make things happen, where Victor is just like a completely different playstyle to that. So that might be a little bit of a reason for why they ended up switching characters there. As we are going to see the bans finally finish up, and then we see the Ashe pick up, and then we will see the Xayah and the Victor almost at LeBlanc for some reason. And then for the last pick, we'll see the Nautilus picked up. And I think both of these compositions are pretty serviceable. Honestly, I would honestly prefer World Enders. They have a much stronger front line and an easier time engaging, I believe. And they do have some kind of long distance poke with that Victor. And they have a lot of zone control as well. Whereas with the Damnation comp, it's pretty good. It'll depend on what Xin Zhao and Darius itemize into, but they can be very squishy as well. They don't really have a front line to sit there and soak damage, and if they get behind, it's going to be very hard to face check bushes into like Victor and Xayah and Rakan. So it's interesting to see, with the composition that they ended up going for, and it's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams kind of play these fights out.
I definitely agree on the side of DN here. If they do not get ahead early, it's going to be really hard for them to play the mid and late game into this team comp that World Enders has drafted. And, with Krim, he's a very active jungler. You're going to be looking at him to get himself ahead and get his lanes ahead early. And I think a lot of it rides on what he can do in the first 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be on a timer this game to really get someone ahead. With the Darius pickups and the Morkars, he does have a lot of options available to him, so we'll have to see what he does opt into. But the pressure is definitely going to be on Crimson in this game to really make something happen. As now we're going to go ahead and get into the 3-minute spectator delay. Don't go anywhere, you are watching the KDL.
There's no time for redemption. Those flags you wave, will they hold up? Don't cry for your vengeance. It's right there to take. Oh, if you want it, the world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. I'll write your story down into history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Going right for your nation. There's so much at stake. Will you show up? Oh, it's about damn time for a little salvation. Those flags you wave represent them. The world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. I'll write your story down into history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and welcome you guys back from that spectator delay. Don't worry, you're not missing anything just yet. We are still just currently loading into the game, but I think we have a little bit of time to talk about the playoffs, and I think some people may wonder how the teams got here or what the team's placements ended up being. And we did have a nice little resolute match between GME and Akatsuki for that fight for first place. GME did end up coming out on top, and Akatsuki did fall into the lower bracket, so they'll face the victors of ABD and JJT. Whereas this match that we have today with Wardeners versus Damnation will end up facing GME, so both of these schedules having a little bit of a hard opponent coming up next. Definitely this is, some would say, the easier match before anyone has to face some of the harder teams. So we'll have to see how both of these teams go. This really is kind of a proving ground before they end up playing against GME. As we are going to go ahead and go again. We are just waiting for the league client to work with us and go ahead and start. As there we go. Now it wants to work with us. We're going to see all members of both teams go ahead and load in. We're going to go ahead and get into this first game of the first series. I think I speak for a lot of people when most people may say that this series could really go either way, as we do see a little bit of a patented World Enders cheese. They're going to try and look to get an early kill against the enemy team. They have been known to do this against a lot of teams, even against the likes of Akatsuki, picking up a kill on top of Code Phoenix. And it looks like their sights are firmly set on this Darius right now, but it looks like he might sniff this out and know better, as he is going to go ahead and spot them. A little bit too far for a flash engage, and they're just going to go ahead and walk away.
Yep. No harm, no foul here. They just spot each other out. But now on the bot side, DN's going to be able to get some deep wards into their jungle, so they're going to get some information early game based on where the jungler is going to be.
As it looks like they're still deciding if they want to. He just wants to set it up at the proper time, looks like. There you go. Raul will go ahead and setting up that ward on top of the red buff. It's going to be pretty important for this Olaf tracking. As well, they do have the ward on top of their own red buff, looking to just track this Olaf and making sure that he's not going to bully the Zins out too hard. As you can see, a little bit of an interesting start here for Olaf. I wonder if Tomcatch will come over and leash him, or if he'll just go ahead and walk away, but he's going to be starting the blue buff, so going to be pathing to that top to bottom. Could potentially see a 3-camp and exit onto the mid lane or the top lane. I don't think it's that impossible to see from an Olaf player. And we'll have to see what he does go for. If not, it looks like both of these junglers will exit on opposite sides of the map, and we'll have to see how that works out for both of these teams.
Yeah, unless we see some weird pathing, they'll probably just end up handshaking the scuttle, each getting one top side, one bot side. Olaf gets the leash from Tom Kench, moves on to the Grump.
Yep, and both of these junglers finishing up at around the same time. We can see the Ash W already doing a nice little amount of poke damage. Interestingly enough, I think the Zyrakan, I think this is probably the duo, the bot lane duo that matters the most with the skins, and it looks like they have successfully matched up. Although the chromas are not matching, so that's a little bit of an L, but you know, it does happen. As we can see, you know, some light trading going back and forth. A small CS advantage for the Ash here in the early game, but I assume that will be completely matched up, as the same could be said for Darius in the top lane. We'll have to see what both of these teams go for, as they are really pushing for this level 2 power spike, but Rocket here a little bit scared to walk forward. But looks like nothing too bad will happen. Interestingly enough, you know, Raul was able to pick up this Diana. And I think a lot of teams ended up banning this Diana just out of fear because of the amount of games and the amount of comfort he has on top of this. What does this Diana mean for Damnation in these team fights, Dilly?
It means a lot. If Diana can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 people with her ultimate, it just completely changes the tide of a team fight. It could be going bad. The other team who likes to group up and or sorry, not the other team doesn't like to group up. I got mixed up there. But if she can get a couple of people with her ult, it'll definitely just change the tide of a team fight. Yeah,
and it's definitely something to look out for as we are looking at these team fights. You know, Diana just, I think it's pretty obvious to see when she goes in and she gets a 3 or 4 or 5 man ultimate. It is very impressive to see. So we'll have to see if Raul is going to be able to pick it off. As the early laning here is actually going quite well in terms for Diana. You know, she is a little bit low HP, but against a Victor, she really should be getting punished a lot more. So Raul holding his own against this lane. As you can see, Crimson here is going for that crab. Ended up skipping both his Raptors and his Krugs in order to potentially make a mid lane gank happen, but was not able to due to the pink ward inside of that bush. And because of that, you know, he's going to fall a little bit behind in CS from this Olaf, who is going to pick up the bot lane Scuttle Crab, but we could see him potentially walk to the mid lane to shadow his mid laner, but it looks like he's just going to go for that crab instead.
Yeah, he's going to finish up the crab, and then he'll probably back here. Not a whole lot else he can do. He might take a peek in the jungle before he does drop a ward if he has it. Yeah, because he still has the yellow trinket. So we'll see what he decides to do here, and he is going to walk in.
Yep, he is going to go ahead and just check out the jungle. Looks like he might drop a ward right as he resets in order to maximize the timing on it. And we do see Xin Zhao here, Krim here, trying his best to do some inventive pathing, really skipping a lot of camps, trying to make these ganks happen. But with the wards, he's not really able to make a lot happen. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to make it happen on the top side. As the pings do come out, he is going to walk forward. The ghost is popped. The ghost popped from Tahm Kench as well. He does have the W as well, so he should be able to get away. At the same time, a fight is happening in the mid lane, but nothing too crazy happening. It looks like Tahm Kench was able to get away. A trade of ghosts, but I think that might be a little bit better for that Darius. If he is able to hold that freeze in front of his turret, it could be disaster for this Tahm Kench. As speaking of disaster, Olaf is here in the bot lane, has yet to reset. Has been wasting a lot of time, but so has Crimson. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to make this gank happen. As the Rakan W goes forward, the stun comes out from Nautilus. The heal comes out from the Ashe, and it looks like they're going to be walking away. And Nautilus here is just going to take this damage for free as Olaf flash forward actually gets ignited. The ignite's traded back and forth, and the flash traded from the Ashe. So a little bit of an advantage in summoner spells for the World Enders bot lane, but ultimately not too much coming out of that gank.
Yeah, Olaf overstepped a little bit there. If he didn't overstep, the Xayah wouldn't have had to blow her heal, and they would have had a bigger advantage bot lane with sums. So, bit of a misplay there, but, you know, it happens.
Yeah, what would be interesting as well is Zyrakan had the full ability to kind of go for this bot lane turret and at least get a plate. Nautilus can't really stop you, and you have your jungler there if Xin Zhao does decide to show up, but it looks like they just wanted to reset instead, take their advantage, and to get those early items, as we do see the first items coming out for a lot of these champions. Olaf picking up the whip, which does mean he is most likely going into that core drinker. I forgot the name there for a second. As we can see a lot of the items coming out for a lot of these champions. Diana picking up the Hextech Alternator, the Vampiric Scepter coming out from the Ashe, and we'll have to see, you know, what these champions do end up going for and see if they are going to be picking up anything spicy.
Well, the Ashe is probably going the route of Shield Bow. Slipped my mind for a second the name of it.
Yep.
Probably going to be doing that build that Jay's been doing, because they also went Hail of Blades. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Diana's probably going to go Rocket Belt just because it helps with the engage so much. Krim on Xin Zhao went Blue Smite. I think the Blue Smite is good for trying to chase down the Xayah or the Victor, but if you're dueling with the Victor with the Olaf in the jungle, I think you get way more value out of Red Smite.
Oh, okay, as the fight is coming out, Nautilus here is going to get caught out, but it looks like the Diana ultimate will go big. Lots of damage coming out on a lot of characters, but a huge two-man Rakan W is going to force the flashes. Crimson flashes away after getting the kill. And that almost looks like disaster for Damnation, but smart flashes is going to save them from that play.
Yep, that was really close to being a double kill for the side of World Enders, but Damnation comes out, Diana gets the ult off, and they get the first blood.
Yeah, and very nice for them. The first blood as well going on top of Crimson. This is really going to help him. And making these plays happen, the extra gold advantage is going to be very strong for him. As importantly enough, I think it's important to note that before Rao had moved to that fight, he was up in CS over this Victor and is surely going to be able to catch most of this. As Darius is here, as okay, Victor is just getting ganked. He's going to get pulled back. The TP is channeled, the TP channeled from both sides. We can see Rakan coming forward. Darius is able to finish up the kill, but it's 3v2. Surely they shouldn't be scared to fight this as another, oh no. The Eat saves the Rakan, but the Tahm Kench goes down now as well. And oh my god, Darius just absolutely taking over the game at this point. Nice little 3-for-0 play in favor of Damnation.
Yeah, Darius got the resets and he just kept dunking. It worked out really well for DN there.
Yeah, very nice. And with that as well, they're going to be able to shove in the mid tower, deny this Victor CS. They're going to get this dragon as well, the Infernal Dragon. So important on the likes of Diana and Darius, who really care about the amount of AD and AP that they have. So this is going to be exactly what Damnation wanted. You know, we said in the champ select that we wanted Damnation to get ahead early, and they really needed to get ahead early to play this mid game and late game well. And they're sitting at 8 minutes into the game. 2.5k gold up is so strong for them. And we'll have to see, you know, the game is really now in their hands to lose. And we'll have to see if they're going to be able to stay in the driver's seat and prevent World Enders from getting back into it.
Yeah, World Enders can definitely just relax a little bit though and just try to farm up, because they do have the better late game. But, you know, we'll see what happens. Some people just like to keep on fighting. And with the Ashe Arrow, the Nautilus, the Diana, the Xin Zhao, sometimes, you know, you can't help but fight because you can't run away.
Yeah, and Damnation definitely have the ability to just force you to fight. Like, okay, do you want to have this dragon? Okay, let's fight for it. Or even if they just want to fight over vision, Damnation are more than happy to do that as well. As we'll have to see what they opt to go for. As Okay, as Rakan is going in here, just going for a little bit of poke. Looks like nothing too crazy will happen out of it. But as Darius is going in here on top of this Tom Kench, getting a nice little chunk, he's going to make sure he is going to bleed a lot more out. And we'll have to see, Zinzao is pathing up here towards the top lane. We'll have to see if he comes through a gank. But Warlanders has been notoriously known for maybe fighting a little bit when they shouldn't as well. They've been a very aggressive team looking to fight and look for mechanical outplays than rather than trying to win through macro or anything like that. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that on top of Damnation. As Crimson here has a nice little push in the mid lane, pushing the top lane is going to be able to secure this Rift Herald pretty much for free. And we'll have to see what Olaf is going to look to do on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Olaf probably wants to try to make something happen on the bot side here as he's coming in, but I don't think anything's going to happen. They're just going to walk out.
Yeah,
No
and
issues.
very nice play from Ashe and Nautilus there, and just playing safely enough to make sure that nothing was going to happen. They could potentially get dove. You know, this wave is going to build up with the next wave, and we could potentially see a dive after that.
Nautilus is still only level 5, so he can't ult them if they do try to dive, but they do have the Ashe Arrow here if it happens.
Yeah, it'll be important to see if he's going to be able to get level 6 off of the minions that are here. And it looks like Ashe is doing her best to just clear the wave. And we can see the pings coming out from Damnation in the mid lane. They're making a play again on top of this Victor. No flash. The W goes wide from Crimson. As the quickness comes out from the Rakan, the arrow comes out as well. The Ragnarok is casted, and Ashe here is doing her best to stay alive. And Nautilus will get the kill on top of the Rakan, but surely it will mean that Ashe is going to go down, and she does. And Olaf is able to very sneakily get away. And I don't know if he should stay here. I think they could potentially look to go for this, as Xayah there sets up her feathers, gets a nice little root. And that is going to mean potentially... Oh, okay, they reset the aggro as Darius is going in here on top of this Tom Kench. Tom Kench is going to spin him out in front of the turret. The flash comes out. The dunk comes out. He could potentially die to the bleed. Tom Kench. Oh, no. He's good. Okay.
It's just barely good, though.
But even though they didn't die, push off at the tower, that means the Rift Herald is going to get channeled. And if they hit this tower enough, and it looks like they should have enough time with the wave as well, they're going to be able to take this tower, and that is going to be first tower for Damnation. And the Darius is just going to get even more snowballed.
Yeah, this Tom Kench, he cannot play the game at the moment. He's so far behind the Darius. He's down 44 CS. He's down 2,400 gold. That's insane at this point in the game, considering their team's down 3.5k gold.
Yeah, and it really is. You know, this Darius was able to TP into that mid lane and get 2 kills just free as can be. And it's really not where you want to be with Warlanders. You know, this Tom Kench tried to TP and save that play in the mid lane, but him TPing only fed more gold into the Darius. And now he pretty much just has to play weak side warrior, try and make things happen where Darius isn't. And the game still continues to be in Damnation's hands, as they were able to balloon that gold lead from 2.5k to around just 3.5k at this point, so it's steadily continuing their advantage. We'll have to see what it's going to look like, as we could potentially see a fight around this mountain dragon that's spawning in a minute. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but with mountain dragon being picked up, that means it is going to be ocean or cloud soul. And I think if you're Damnation, you really want this ocean soul to really prevent the enemy team from ever coming back, because that ocean soul will give you a nice little bit of scaling that you kind of lack in your composition.
Yeah, if they get that ocean scale, I think it's GG no matter what. Trying to fight against this comp with that, because if Victor pokes you out, it doesn't matter. You're just going to heal back up again in a few seconds. So it takes away a lot of the fighting power from the side of World Enders.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we can see Darius rotated down here. He's going to stay in the mid lane and put pressure on top of this Victor, as Diana and the jungler are kind of sitting forward, looking for the enemy team, trying to figure out where they are, as the dragon is spawning in 15 seconds. But little do they know that Olaf is in the alcove here, and they're looking to make a play on top of this Ashe. You see
Now
the
with the
pings
Darius,
coming
yeah,
out. Oh. Okay, I haven't decided to just yet.
Darius looks like he's going to walk back down now after seeing that the Tom Kench is no longer there, so that he can participate in this dragon fight. And I think if Darius is there for that dragon, then they can't fight it. Oh.
Yeah, and Ashe, they're stepping way too far forward. Looks like the pings are coming out for the dragon. They want to fight for it, but they could potentially get blown up by Damnation first, and it looks like it will not. As Diana is here, though, this could be a huge angle for her. She's going to get a 3-man ulti. Gets huge damage. Xayah is able to negate the damage, but a huge Nautilus ulti in the backline. We see the fight on multiple fronts here. Damnation are really trying to get here. No reset for the Darius is going to be very bad for him, but he's going to heal up so much. Oh my god. They're just waiting for his Q cooldown as Rakan does his best. The Eve is going to come out from the Tom Kitchen. They are going to be able to pick him up. But Crimson is here wailing away on top of Victor. He's going to pick him up. The Tom Kitchen lick is going to take out the Nautilus. And Crimson is going to get knocked out by the Tom Kench. He's doing his best to do as much damage, but I think Tom Kench wins this, as it looks like it's maybe the E-Shield. Okay, Crimson is able to pick up a nice little ace there for Damnation. Picked up the dragon, rolled the Ocean Soul. and got so many kills on top of Crimson.
Yeah, that was a very hectic team fighting. DN, or not DN. Yeah, sorry, DN. Confusing myself. DN just barely comes out on top on the end. The Gore Drinker keeping Xin Zhao alive there. I think he got the procket 2 or 3 times in that duel just with Tom Kench alone. And with no, even with the anti-healing, you saw how much he was healing there off of it.
Yeah, and it's so important for Crimson as well. I was talking to Crimson before this game last night, and he was talking about how he felt like he was in a slump recently. He really couldn't make anything happen, but here he's really putting on a strong performance, having a very nice showcase on top of the Xin Zhao. And this really is going to be a confidence booster for them in this best of 3. As I think a lot of people who don't really play best of 3s don't understand that it is a mental game as much as it is the physical game as well. You really need to keep your mental inside of it and think that you have the ability to win in order to close out these games. And picking up that first win really does help your mental with that as well. So we'll have to see what they opt to go for. As Warlanders here are not going to go down without a fight. Looks like they're going to try and take away this bot tier 1, and they're successfully going to do so, putting a lot of gold into this Xayah. But sitting at around 3k gold down still, it is definitely not in their hands. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to catch Damnation making a mistake.
Yeah, at this point, it's Damnation has to make a pretty big mistake, I think, for them to lose team fights. They lost that one just because they were down a member the entire fight because Ash got picked off at the very beginning. But yeah, just these fights, not only just around the Darius now, but also the Xin Zhao are going to be really hard to fight for World Enders.
Yeah, as it looks like they're going to go forward. The quickness is cast. It looks like the 2v3. Diana's doing her best here. They're going to get a lot of damage out, but not able to really kill anyone. As the Ash arrow comes in, does a lot of damage. Olaf. Oh, the flash from the Olaf is going to save him. The flash hook from the Nautilus is going to stop Xayah from doing a lot of damage. The Nautilus ultimate as well. And another 2 kills going the way of Xin Zhao as going forward. Ash is forced to flash and heal out from the Victor. Not really respecting his damage, but across the map, you can see the plays continuing to go forward for Damnation even when Warlanders initiated them.
And that was a massive Diana ult there by Raul. It looked like he was dead. He pulls the Diana ult, Zanya's, and stays alive long enough for it to fall, and he does huge damage on the 3 of them. If he doesn't get that, then I don't think they can win that fight there.
Yeah, as you can see, Darius here is just doing his best to punish this Tom Kench as well, really doing his best to just bully him. Looks like he's taking him back to high school. He says, hey man, this is Tanner. You are not allowed to eat at my lunch table. As the pigs are coming out from Crimson and Nautilus, are going to go ahead and hop on top of that Rift Herald, look to get the second one for Damnation in this game. And I believe the target will be that bot tier 1.
Either the bot tier 1, is the mid lane tower still up? I can't see. There's 2 people standing on it. And
I don't believe so, but it could be.
Doesn't look like it. No, it's not.
Yep, so they're able to pick up that Rift Herald, and is an important buy as Crimson sitting with 1,000 gold bounty. Definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest member on his team currently. And we'll have to see, how he's going to look to punish this existence, as fortunately enough, like we said, Damnation were able to roll the Ocean Soul. So they are going to be able to utilize that advantage, and as long as they set up good prio on the objectives, as Ash here, once again, the story of Ash this game, stepping up way too far forward, and she is almost certainly just dead. The shield was going to get procced, but she is just taken down, and a nice little kill going the way of Olaf. Woodender's still showing signs of life, but ultimately that pick is not going to mean too much. They're not really going to be able to make much happen off of it, but they will be able to play some nice little vision before the dragon. We'll have to see what they go for as Crimson is here. Looks like Olaf might be stepping a little too far forward. Rakan is here, but he's a little bit delayed. As the fight is coming out, Tom Kench is stuck in the top lane. The Nautilus ultimate will go forward, but Crimson here may be stepping too far forward. He's going to get taken out. The 1k shutdown going the way of Victor. That is a big blunder for World Enders, or for Damnation, going the way of World Enders.
Yeah, that's 1,300 gold right there in the pocket of Victor. That's huge on a champion like him. It excels his damage exponentially. And he's going to be doing a lot more in these team fights now.
Yeah, and Victor, one of the most scaling picks on the World Enders competition, is going to be very strong for them, as because of that death as well, Xin Zhao and Nautilus are not here for this Ocean Dragon, and World Enders should be able to just burst it, and that will stall the enemy soul and really give them a lot of time to make things happen in this game.
Yep, getting this dragon here definitely buys them another 5 minutes, as you said, and every 5 minutes is really important on the side of World Enders.
Yeah, and it certainly is, especially with a champion like Victor. He still is not back to spend that gold, but it looks like he is going to go for that Lichbane second. We'll have to see what he does end up going for, but that will be a nice little pickup for him, as Diana is, was going even with the Victor, but is now falling behind due to the fact that a lot of the gold that went to World Enders, or to Damnation, excuse me, ended up going the way of Crimson, and Diana was not able to pick up a lot of that, so we'll have to see what they go for, as Crimson is here looking to fight on top of this Tom Kinch. The Rift Herald get channeled as well, but Warriors are here to answer. They need to kill this guy and get out, as it looks like they're going to stay for the tower. Oh no, it's going to be a 3v2 as the rest of the team is not there. Damnation here overstaying. The Ragnarok casted for Olaf. He's going to do his best to do a lot of damage. The dunk comes out and it's not enough. The Triumph is going to end up saving him. But Crimson is going to take him out as the TP comes out from Rao. Maybe going a little bit too forward. The quickness from Rakan is still there. He's going to get a one-man ultimate, not able to do too much, and it looks like he just TP'd to his death. That's a nice, another play for World Enders.
Yeah, World Enders just making plays around the map, getting shutdowns, getting more gold into the pocket of these carries that want to scale late game. And, you know, they're clawing their way back into this game. It's still a 3k gold lead, so it hasn't ballooned in the last, you know, 8 or 9, 10 minutes. It's been pretty steady.
Yeah, and honestly, for World Enders, that's pretty much what you want. You just want the goalie to stay where it is, so that way you are not too far behind, but you can still make things happen around the map as they have been doing. And they're really just sitting on the Victor game. They really want this Victor to be strong and make things happen. As we can see, now the jungler for Damnation, Crimson, is getting a little bit stunted on his items, has been sitting on that Phage and Pickaxe for a little while now, looking to go into that Sterix, I believe, but hasn't really been able to due to the constant fighting. When we see the pings come out, we could potentially see a fight around this red buff here as Crimson is sniffing it out. They are aware. He is going to go ahead and face check. Looks like the Ash Arrow will come out. The TP will come out from Wood Enders, but it looks like an uneven fight as Rakan just gets absolutely deleted. Olaf here can't decide if he wants to go forward or backwards. But Darius on the flank is going to nice little pick up on top of... Oh, just kidding. Olaf is able to survive for longer as Nautilus and Diana are both going down. The fight going the way of World Enders for now. Crimson there split off from the main group. Ash not really able to follow, and it looks like the fight is just absolutely won for World Enders as Tom Kinch gets one more, and they could potentially get Crimson as well. And if Crimson goes down, that does mean the Baron, as he's going to try and go forward. He's going to get one. He is going to get two. Now it's just him versus Tom Kinch. The Grey Shield is yet to be popped. He's going to get knocked up. CC locked as he's going to do a best, but he's going to get taken out. And that's a nice little 5 for 4 in favor of World Enders.
I think Crim may have just saved the game there for them.
He absolutely did.
If he dies there, they 100% go Baron. They 100% get at least one mid tower, probably several others. And then that's a ton of gold in the side of DN, and they have the advantage at that point. But he stops that, and the game is almost dead even here. We're about 1.8k gold, and at this point, that doesn't mean a whole lot. Because most of that gold difference is probably between the Tom Kinch and the Darius. So...
yeah, and it's important enough to note that with the gold lead just constantly going the way of World Enders and they're able to catch back up with the scaling composition, it does favor them. As we are going to see, you know, the Ocean Dragon coming up in 2 minutes. The Baron is still an objective for both of these teams, but it looks like every time both of these teams fight, they respawn, they go back to some sort of objective, and they just keep fighting. And surely that should favor Damnation because they're ahead, but a little bit of misplays in these fights is causing Crimson to make hero plays in order to save his team from just falling far behind.
We've got Dragon spawning in 1.5 minutes. It's going to be an interesting one. Both teams are probably not going to want to fight before that. They're going to want to try to position around it, as DN's just getting vision in the area right now. Darius is going to want to start pathing bot lane though, because he has to be there for that fight. He cannot be top lane when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, it's fine if Tom Kinch is there because he's not really a strong part of his team, but Darius is such a core component of this Damnation roster that he really needs to be here in these fights, and we'll have to see what it looks to go for. It looks like he's going to look for the wave. He still has a minute to make his way down. As Diana here is going to proto bout forward, cast her ultimate. Victor does not have the flash. He is going to Zanya's, but with a Crimson here, there's surely no way he gets out of it. As he is going to get a nice little chunk on top of this Diana. She's going to, okay, the last tick not able to take her out. But this means she is going to be absent for the fight, as no, looks like the honey fruit is there, so she is going to stay. But with Victor dead for another 33 seconds, must surely mean that World Enders could potentially look to forfeit this dragon. Victor does have the TP available if they want to try and fight it, but this should be very easy for Damnation to set up vision control, set up prio around this dragon beforehand.
Yeah, definitely look for the TP though. If they really do want to contest this, he can be there in time for it.
Yeah, and importantly enough, Darius is still in the top lane, so it'll be interesting. It looks like they're trying to catch someone out inside of this bush. You know, they've done this before a couple times, but World Enders have never really fallen for it. As it looks like now Zaya has sniffed it out and is taking the long way around through the path that his teammates have cleared. And it looks like they're potentially looking to go for someone. They can't really decide just yet. The Victor TP comes out, but importantly enough, Diana is here. The blast gun goes over. They've got a huge flank, but Damnation are stuck in the pit. They're not really able to make anything happen as the Nautilus ultimate goes out. The quickness comes out as well. Victor is stunned up, but they're not really able to protect anyone as Ashe is forced to flash away because of the Olaf, but we can see the fight just continuing around on so many fronts. Diana is stunned up, not able to use the ultimate. It was just off cooldown as the flash ultimate comes out, but importantly enough, Crimson was able to pick up the dragon. Looks like he's going to potentially look for a snipe on top of the Rakan, but not able to do so. And all members of Damnation ended up going down, and Warlanders lost nobody.
Yep, 3-0 there, but DN gets the dragon, so they're 1 off soul point now. But at the same time, World Enders is making their way towards this Baron, and they're going to be able to get it uncontested. Darius might be able to do something about it, but I think that he can just get kited out and CC'd to death because this Victor does so much damage right now.
Yeah, it's definitely on World Enders to misplay this Baron fight if they really want Darius to do anything about it. But with 5 members alive, surely this Darius is not on enter the pit as the TP is channeled the Baron at 6k, 5k. We can see Diana look to go for a potentially huge ultimate here. It looks like the members of World Enders are going to get split off and Zaya absolutely deleted, but it looks like the rest of the team is focusing on the Baron. They want to make sure they secure it as it's 1k. The smite comes out. Olaf is able to secure it, but a huge 3-man pull for the Darius is going to be massive. As Darius is doing his best to do damage, but the rest of Damnation is not there. He's going to do his best. The dunk comes out, but it doesn't execute. Victor, the last man alive, with Tahm Kench. It looks like it will just be a 3-for-3 with the Baron going the way of World Enders. That is going to put the gold lead 1,000 in their favor.
Yeah, and good enough. They keep the Baron buff on the split pusher, the Tahm Kench, who's always in the side lane. So they're going to have those minions Baron buffed, as well as Victor, who wants to group in the mid lane with his team, so they can still make really good use of this Baron.
Yeah, it is a nice little play for this Victor as he is just going around. You can see he's clearing every single jungle camp from his jungler. They're just funneling all the gold into him, saying, Victor, please carry, as he does have that 20 pages in the Magi's book, and we'll have to see how much damage he's going to do in these upcoming team fights. You know, with the Baron up, with the Baron on these members, excuse me, it is still going to run out before the Ocean Dragon, so Damnation should still have the potential. But with Soul Point being available, all it takes is one smite from Crimson for the game to really go away from World Enders here. And it would be disaster if they were not able to pick up this next dragon.
Yeah, an extra 5 minutes in this game for the Victor means so much for the side of World Enders. They do not want to get that dragon up, no matter what.
Yeah, as we can see, you know, a lot of the items coming out for these champions, we can see we're hitting around the mid to late game point now with the 3 item power spikes coming out for a lot of these champions. Ashe a little bit stinted, but we can see Crimson there with his 3 items going for the Wits End 4th. And Darius there almost on his 3rd item. A lot of these champions reaching these 3 item power spikes, and we'll have to see how all of them look to go for it. As Rakan there has the Kindle Gem and the Charm. We'll have to see what he looks to go for with those items. As they are able to see Crimson, he is just kind of dancing there, protecting his mid laner, making sure that he's not going to get ganked or anything. And he is going to go ahead and start clearing out vision inside of his jungle.
Interestingly enough, the Ashe did not go for Wits End 2nd, which I think would be really good here, especially with the Victor doing all this magic damage. And they also went for Tabbies for the boots, so they're lacking in damage here. But if you're just playing around the fact that, okay, Ashe, you're just gonna be the ult bot this game, you know, you're not gonna be the carry, then I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, World Enders here are kind of mismanaging their Baron. They're putting all of their members here into the side lane when they really should be pressuring more across the map. They're gonna be able to get this bot tier 2 most likely, but they should be able to get a lot more. They could potentially look to get the mid tier 2 as well. As looks like someone had misclicked. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, they're just trying to force down this inhib tower right now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get it. There's not a whole lot of wave clear on the side of DN though. It's pretty much just the Ashe arrow, or the Zin Zhao W. That's about it that they have for wave clear, so it's pretty tough, especially with this Victor just poking you off the wave.
Yeah, we'll have to see what it looks like as both these teams here looking to protect around the inhibitor. They are going to be able to get this inhibitor. That is nice for them. The bot lane inhibitor is so important for the dragon. We'll have to see what that's going to look like when the dragon is spawning, as the Baron has worn off. Now the game is in Damnation to really try and get this dragon. We'll have to see what they're looking to go for, but World Enders have already been through here, through this jungle, have set up a lot of vision, and they're going to have the potential to make a lot of picks.
DN just kind of forcing their way through here because they want to get to this dragon before when it spawns. If they lose this fight though, they pretty much lose the game because the bot side minions are pushing in and they're at the dragon pit. So if they lose this fight, all 5 of them die, 4 of them die, and World Enders has most of their team alive. They can just walk it down the bot lane and and end the game here.
Yeah, importantly enough, Warriors could even look to potentially pull a survey core. They have the 2 TPs available. They just need to hold the enemy team at the dragon and look to end through that. So we'll have to see what they look to go for as the fight is starting to break out. The Ash W looking to create space. We'll have to see what it looks like as the Victor gets a nice little chunk on top of all members. As Diana is going to be spotted out, they are going to force her out of her position. We'll have to see what it looks like as Olaf here is going to go forward. Tom Kitsch following up. Rakan following up with the quickness. Crimson is going to get bursted and just taken out. As Diana gets a nice little ult in the backline, and there are too many things on the screen as members are traded back and forth. Darius here looking to get damage out, but not able to heal enough. The dunk does not successfully go through. 3 members of Damnation down, 4 members down. The only member remaining is Krim. They have the 2 TPs available. They're going to double channel the TP. And it looks like Warlanders will be able to finish out this game. As Crimson is here, he's going to look for the Hail Mary effort. He's going to go on top of this Victor, get a nice little damage, but the stopwatch is going to dissuade him from doing anything else. As the Victor flash as well, the E is going to be able to take him out as a nice little first game lead for Woodenders. A bit of a disaster there from Damnation.
Yep, the Victor started rolling. It started with those 2 kills on the bot side with 1,000 gold shutdown on Grim, and he just took it from there.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that's pretty interesting for both of these teams. Like we said, the mental is so important in this game, and Krim had a little bit of a 1v9 performance this game, but unfortunately, the team was not really able to follow through. And there's going to be a nice little 1-0 lead for Worldenders in this game, or in this series, excuse me, and we'll have to see what Damnation are looking to respond with next game. So we're going to go ahead and go to a quick little break here as we get into the next lobby, we set into the next game, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, as we did have a quick little break in between game one and two, we're gonna hop quickly into this game two draft as Damnation did end up losing that first game, so they did get side select. Excuse me, if I could speak English, that would be preferable, as they did end up choosing this red side, and that means that one of theirs did opt into or did get pushed into this blue side. So we'll have to see how this composition or how this drafting, excuse me, is going to be different now that the sides have changed a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any of the bands change up. I'm sure some of the picks will definitely change up, but the bands on the side of World Enders, I mean, they won the first game, so they might keep the bands the exact same, but we might see some different bands on the side of DN here.
Yeah, and it looks like I can't remember if the Viega was banned out last game. It is
He
certainly
was,
possible. Yep.
he was, yeah.
As if Crimson had been on Viego instead of Xin Zhao that game, it would be very interesting. As speaking of Crimson Xin Zhao, it is going to be banned away, so he's going to be pushed onto another champion. We'll see if Damnation keeps the same three bans, as Warlanders have opted to replace one of theirs. We'll have to see what Damnation want to ban out here for their final ban. I believe last time it was the Wukong, so we'll have to see if they go for that again.
It was the Wukong, so, and it will be the Wukong again. Exact same bands again on the side of DN, so they're probably okay with them picking those champions again. As we get the Diana first pick this time instead of the Victor.
Yeah, a little bit interesting. I think they might be a little bit scared of Rose Diana or potentially Krim looking to flex it, as it did make it very awkward for them to draft against the last game, so they are just going to pick it up. But this almost certainly means that it will be that Diana jungle. I believe Adam has played it before, so we'll have to see if that does have any flexibility, as it looks like another pick will be swapped between the teams, and we'll see the Rakan on Damnation side this time.
Yeah, so far they're just trading picks. Rakan going to the side of DN and Diana going to the side of World Enders. Gonna see what they pick up here second. Will it be the Victor?
Yeah, I mean, we could potentially see it. I'm not sure if Raul plays it. We could potentially see the ASOL as well. I know he's been a little bit of an ASOL fanatic. The Katarina as well. He had a performance on that we might be able to see. Is the Kindred hover and the Kindred locked in. Crimson trying to get me worked up right now as they're going to see the Lamb and the Wolf picked for Damnation.
Very different jungler from compared to Xin Zhao, so it'll be interesting to see how Krim plays this.
Yeah, and it is going to require a lot of coordination on the side of his team in order to get marks. You know, the first Scuttle Crab mark is kind of a 50-50 if it ends up on your side or not. And we'll have to see how the rest of the marks go, as Kindred is a little bit of a kind of a team breaker. It can be, where if you really force your team into bad situations in order to get marks, it can be very disastrous for your team. As we will see the set picked up, one of his signature champions, excuse me. We'll have to see he's going to take that into the support role again, or if they're going to put Issy back into the mid lane this game.
I have a feeling it'll be in the mid lane this game. They took the Rakan, and I know that's one of Issy's favorite champs to play support. So it'll probably end up being 12 inches on support again this time. Look for the Lux, the Xerath. He really likes to play those on support as well, and he does crazy amounts of damage when he does it too.
Yeah, as we will see, the respect ban for the Victor coming out. They don't want anything like that happening again. As the Kai'Sa was picked up as well for Damnation, so we have the bot lane and the jungle open, but both the mid and top are yet to be picked. So we'll have to see what they're looking to go for that. They do have red side, so they have the ability to look for a R5 something powerful, as the Katarina will be banned away. One of Rao's most dominant performances was on that Katarina. So it looks like they're trying to not repeat that. As the last ban for Damnation is rolling up here, we'll have to see what they're looking to go for.
They probably look to ban out a support here, I would feel like. They might just try to target the mid lane's champion pool again, but I'm pretty sure that's set. So, yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be set. I might be wrong, but these might just be wasted bans in the mid lane here.
Yeah, I think it may be the set in the mid lane as well. It's not impossible for it to be like a set in the top lane or set in the support, but Issy has been known for that set mid lane, and they've had a lot of success on it in the past. So we'll have to see if the bans were wasted or not, as Warlanders are looking with their fifth ban here, potentially looking to not waste this one. As they do have just a few seconds left to lock it in. It will be that Yone, another one of Raul's a little bit more comfortable champions. We'll have to see what he's going to look to pick into, as both the Katarina and the Yone are banned. That Diana picked away, his shampoo is getting nibbled away at.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick something here that, fits the team comp. Right now they have engage and they have damage. They don't have a front line. They don't have magic damage. So, Silas does a bit of that. He can frontline, does magic damage. There's some decent ults for him to take on the side of World Enders at the moment. Diana's ult's pretty good. Xayah, not so much. Set ult, pretty solid. So we'll see if they try to pick these last two picks around the fact that, Silas can take our ult. So we have to keep that in mind, or we'll see if they just give him some really good ults to steal here.
Yeah, importantly enough, the support pool is still yet to be picked. And it looks like, I assume that's a placeholder. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, but the Soraka ultimate, okay, it is Tom once again. So that instead of that Soraka, it will be the Tom Kench. So they have a little bit of a substitution right there. We'll have to see what they look for now as the support pick is open. As importantly enough, so, looks like it may be the Rise. Oh, looks like they can't decide what's going on. It will be the Rise, so it will be that set support, interestingly enough, paired with the Xayah.
So they picked two really good champions here into the Silas, just from the point that Rise ult, not very good on Silas. Tom Kench ult, not very good on Silas. So if that's what they were going for here, they did a really good job of that. As for the Rise, he's definitely going mid lane. Well, actually, he could go top lane as well. It's hard to say. We're gonna have to wait until they trade these picks around in the redraft for us to see exactly where all these are going.
Yeah, and importantly enough, I think Rise is a little bit of a super champion where a lot of teams will use him adequately, but not really well enough. His Realm Warp has the ability to make a lot of interesting plays happen, especially around vision if you clear your vision properly. And you can like sneak objectives that way, or you can sneak the Baron, or you can look to get behind someone in the same fashion. Rise really shouldn't just be AFK farming. He has the ability to impact the map in so many ways, and we'll have to see what the mid laner for Woodlanders is looking to do with that pick, as he could just adequately just sit there and farm, or he could look to impact the map around him, as TF will be doing so. With that TF ultimate, he's just going to walk out of vision, constantly pressure around the map, doesn't even have to channel the ultimate to exert his pressure, and it'll be very hard for Woodlanders to try and make plays knowing that the TF could arrive at any moment.
Yep, just the pressure, like you said, from that is huge. He starts to walk into the bottom river, and you have to be wary of it. The bot lane has to back up if they don't have the jungler just sitting there with them. So we'll have to see how it goes. Rise can follow, like you said, but not quite as well. Also, it might be the Rise top, so might not even be able to follow from the mid lane. We're gonna have to wait and see where these picks go.
Yep, as we are seeing the bans come out. And looks like they're just speeding through it, at least on the side of Damnation. Maybe Woodlanders is spelling something out, but not that I can see.
And so far, we have AHA to end it, but I don't think that means anything.
A little bit unfortunate, neither team going for the ABDXD. That is a proven method to give you that extra early stats.
Yeah, the extra early stats didn't help them in the last game, though.
Yeah, unfortunately enough.
World Enders was the one that banned it, and they kind of got rolled in the early game.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. But fortunately enough, we do see the Kindred in this game. I think anyone who's been talking in the KDL Discord knows that Krim and I are both Kindred fans. Have constantly been talking about this pick and trying to get someone to pick it. It looks like Krim has had enough. Could potentially be the last game of the season for him. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to pick Kindred this game. And we'll have to see if he's going to be able to have such a 1v9 performance this game that he did in the last game.
Yep, definitely going to be interesting. I think if he gets the same advantage he did early with the Xin Zhao as he does on the Kindred, then he can absolutely roll this game. But we're going to have to see how it goes. It's a lot harder to get those early advantages on Kindred versus the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, it is definitely a lot harder. She does definitely need a little bit more time to make something happen. But interestingly enough, she does have the kiting advantage due to the fact that she is that range champion, and especially when she starts picking up those marks and gets that range upgrade, it is going to be very easy for her to try and kite out the champions from Warlanders, because they really don't have a lot of reach. A lot of these champions are pretty short range. Tom Kench has that dash now, or I guess like a tunnel, I suppose, where he is going to be able to close the distance, but a lot of Warlanders is a very short range, and they should be able to kind of use and abuse that if Kindred is able to get ahead and start getting those marks.
Definitely, and so we're going to see Issy on the set. He's going to be bringing it to support, because we're not going to see support Rise. I would hope not, at least. That would not be very good.
It was the first time for everything. You could see it.
Well, no, I had one in one of my solo queue games. It was awful, so...
As I think you were probably more than right that we'll be seeing Issy slotting into the support role once again. Looks like they still want to potentially have him go in the mid lane, but it looks like in all of these drafts he has been switching into the support role. Fortunately enough, I should say, it is not Garen and Kassadin, so that's pretty good for Woodlanders. But we'll have to see what this set support is going to do. You know, Issy has a lot of playtime on top of this set, has been a big fan of him ever since he's been released, if I recall correctly, and has been looking to play him in all of these games. And he has had decent success, even having good success against Akatsuki with it. And we'll have to see, you know, what this composition is looking to do inside of this game, as, you know, based on the champion selected, Damnation should be able to go around the map and make picks happen with the Twisted Fate ultimate, with Kindred being able to have such inventive pathing, but Warlanders have the ability to just kind of sit back and scale and look to go for fights later on. As we are going to go ahead and hop into the spectator delay. We'll be waiting 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere. You guys are watching the KDL.
There's no time for redemption. Those flags you wave, will they hold up? Don't cry for your vengeance. It's right there to take. Oh, if you want it, the world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. I'll write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Calling rise for your nation. There's so much at stake. Will you show up? Oh, it's about damn time for a little salvation. Those flags you wave represent them. The world is watching. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. I'll write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. So go and bring home the glory alive. Here's your judgment. Here's your reckoning. Write your story down. Enter history. Pride and country. You could have everything. So bring home the glory alive.
Alright, we'll be welcoming you guys back from that 3-minute spectator delay break. Don't worry, you aren't missing anything. We're just going to go ahead and load into the game at this time. But I think we had a little bit of the stats inputted while we were waiting for that game, thanks to code. And importantly enough, I think Crimson really had a strong performance the last game, and it really does deserve to be pointed out, as he did have 80% KP and ended up doing 35% of his team's total damage. So really having such a strong performance. On top of that, Zinzao, you know, obviously it was banned away this game, and he was forced into the Kindred. He did opt to go for that PTA, so he's looking to go for that early skirmishing as well. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to have a similar performance this game, as really that performance was what was able to keep Warlanders, put Damnation ahead and keep Warlanders behind.
Yep, definitely gonna have to see if he can do that again. It's gonna be hard to replicate because he played so well last game. It's definitely possible. We'll have to see what happens. I think on the side of DN here, they don't really want a team fight against this team. They want to get picks in the side lanes and get advantages that way. Because if they just 5v5 team fight, it's really hard for them to fight that. They kind of just, they don't really have a front line. Silas is your front line, and Rakan, I guess, but not very much damage is going to be able to be soaked up by those two, and they're going to get killed pretty quickly by Ryze, Xayah, Diana,
Yeah.
especially in the later parts of the game. So we'll have to see how it goes for them. But
Yeah, and so we did see, the looks are out for Damnation. They're looking to see if one of them are looking to cheese anyone. As Kindred here is going to be able to see one member, or three members, excuse me. The ward is going to come out, and it looks like they're not able to get it, unfortunately enough.
GG.
Yeah, that's a solid FF15. Let's go next. As Crimson set up that ward on the top side that did end up warding his red, so he should be aware that they are going to know his pathing, and he's going to look towards this bot side. We'll have to see. As Crimson spits out one of his most famous quotes.
It's a classic at this point.
It must be. It's going to be engraved in the Hall of Fame. As we'll have to see if Crimson is engraved in the Hall of Fame after this game. Damnation sitting one game down. This is a best of three, so if they do end up losing this game, Borderlanders go 2-0, and that doesn't mean they're going to get eliminated out of playoffs. I think a lot of people would be disappointed if Damnation was not able to take this to a 3-game banger. And we'll have to see what they're able to do. As the waves are starting to crash, and we're going to start to see, the mark comes out on top of Diana from the Kindred. Pretty typical stuff, and we'll have to see how Crimson is going to be able to impact this game.
Yep. Part of this too is just going to be, basic clear top to bottom for him, and hope that his first mark is on the scuttle top side. Since Diana's starting top side and will be pathing down, he might be able to get an uncontested mark for the first one, which would be pretty big for the Kindred.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty big, especially if you look at the enemy composition, it is going to be so hotly contested for any of the other marks, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to get anything else outside of kills. I would be amazed if he was able to get any jungle camps. As Diana is pretty religiously querying, as speaking of that, Itzy is going to flash forward, get the E on top of the Kaisa, and puts out some nice damage. Xayah is going to call her feathers back, but not able to do too much damage. They are able to get the heal out of the Kaisa, but it is at the expense of the flash from the set. But even then, set with Hex Flash is a pretty ideal place for him to be, as they are looking to invade now and to get vision on top of the enemy jungler and make sure they're not going to get 3 camps.
Yeah, and oftentimes having the Hex Flash on the set in the bot lane is just more advantageous than just having the regular flash, because you can spam it from the bush and it can get pretty obnoxious because you can't walk up too close. If he Hex Flashes ease you, it's no different than if he flashed on you. The only thing where it might be a problem is if they get ganked and he doesn't have a way out.
Yeah, as Rocket here is stepping way too far forward, the heal is not available for their team, so Set is going to end up picking up that first kill, and a mistake from Rocket is going to mean an early advantage for Worldlanders.
Yeah, Rocket just steps too far forward, gets caught by the E Ignite, and then even if Set didn't get the W off there, I'm pretty sure he was going to die anyway to the Ignite.
Yeah, almost certainly, I would believe so. As now, unfortunately enough for Crim, the mark is on that bot scuttle, so he's not going to be able to get that first mark for free. Diana is here on this bot side, is going to pick it up, and Crimson here is so far away to the jungle pathing that he could potentially get fought for this top crab by Diana. We'll have to see how fast he clears it. And Ryze and Tom Kench could look to collapse as well, as both of them have priority and could look to deny Crimson if they really wanted to.
Yeah, they definitely could look for it. Doesn't seem like they're going to, though.
Yep, as it looks like.
Like you said, though, unfortunately, Crimson loses the coin flip on the mark, and he's not going to be able to get the first one. Hopefully, he'll be able to get the second one pretty soon. He's going to look top lane here for a gank on the Tom Kench, who has no flash.
Yep, but fortunately enough, Tom Kench does have the W. And Crimson, not able to make anything happen, is going to get a nice little lick on his returning way out. And he is going to potentially look for his crows. Speaking of that Hex Flash, we do see it in action. Looks like they potentially want to look to fight this, but the Haymaker will deny any sort of meaningful damage on top of this set. As Silas here is just continuously going aggressive, looking to take fights on top of this Tom Kench. But he does have 3 stacks of Acquired 2 Star on him, and it looks like he's not going to be able to get stunned up. But with no ward, Diana could potentially blast cone over in this top side and look to punish him.
Definitely could look to do it. Will be interesting to see if they do. Tom Kench is pretty low here, so he probably can't take a fight. But, it's Tom Kench. Anything's possible.
Yep, and he does have that ability to just dive under you and pop up at your feet. As Silas here is way too far forward, we could potentially see him get punished here. As Diana is here, he's really stepping too far forward. The pings are coming out. We see Ryze moving as well. Just the early ignite, just for pressure, I guess. As, okay, the Tom Kench predicts the Silas E. And it's going to mean a sure death, and it goes the way of Ryze as well. A nice little advantage there for Damnation. 1k gold up at 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was a really good Tom Kench W by the top laner for Worldlanders. Perfectly timed, exactly where the Silas is going to be. Just denies any escape.
Yeah, and it was very nice for him. You know, he did go down a lot of CS for that, but was able to get the assist and fed a lot of the gold over to the Rise, who is sitting at 45 CS, has a kill, has the tier stacking up. It's a pretty dream scenario for the Rise. And we'll have to see, you know, Twisted Fate is now 6, so he's going to look for plays around the map to try to equalize the gold. But he needs to start looking sooner. Rise is just going to pull so far ahead.
Yeah, the later this game goes, the stronger and stronger that Rise gets, especially like you said with the early advantage. And there's not a whole lot of people that can really do anything about it on the other team. They don't have a whole lot of CC, as we see the TPs come in top lane and TF gets the port in and the kill.
Yep, very nice. That is exactly what you want from the Twisted Fate. He does have the TP available. And interestingly enough, I don't think I pointed out, but he did go for the Spellbook, which is a little bit interesting. You know, Twisted Fate is the type of champion that can take any sort of rune like Bard. You can really just go anything and it doesn't really matter. As Set gets some nice little poke damage here, but not going to be able to get too much. As Adam here is looking forward, for some reason the members of Damnation are really trying to pressure here. As it looks like the dragon is up, TF does TP back, so he does not have his ultimate, but he is going to be able to walk into the pit as Rise is sitting around half mana here, and Damnation really want to enter. As they're going to walk forward, the TP is going to get channeled from Silas. The exhaust comes out. They're going to instantly kill the Xayah. Now Set is going to be taken out. The Realm Warp comes out, and it looks like they can't decide if they want an arrow. 2 members left. They are going to start coming back. And it looks like they can't decide. Oh, Tom Kinch goes in. He's going to get a huge knock-up. Diana's looking to follow, but she's not level 6. Importantly enough, Crimson goes down, but the members are fighting back and forth. It's so close. As Tom Kinch is going to eat the Diana and save her from certain death, but the members of Damnation being so low, Tom Kinch will get taken out, but Rise of Diana being the last member standing, and importantly enough, this fight has gone on for so long that Xayah is almost back. As the smite comes out from Diana, she does for a little bit of HP, but it's not going to be too much, as for some reason they're trying to coin whip this dragon. If they sit on it, they're going to die. As Silas is on the flank here, he does not have the ultimate, but he's looking to kill Rise. He's going to go forward. He's going to E forward, misses the chains. Oh no, he's going to get rooted, not going to be able to W. And that is almost certainly going to mean that the kill is going the way of World Enders. TF uses a stopwatch but isn't able to live. And oh, a disaster for Damnation. As Crimson is here, he's looking like he wants to make the best of a bad situation, but the flash comes out from Set. It's back up. He wants to go forward. The Diana ultimate comes out. It does not channel through though. He could look to get the Rise. Does not get the Q off. But oh my god, what a bloody fight at the end of it all. The only thing that's changed is that Warlanders picked up a dragon. The goal difference is still the same.
That is what you call a classic fiesta. Holy. That fight went on so long that the ADC for World Enders, Xayah, died and came back to the fight before it was over.
Oh my god. As I'm not sure what's going through the player's head after that. I'm sure both of them are a little bit tilted just after the fight has gone so long, because they were both in winning states at different parts of the game. As we can see, the Scuttle Crab is marked. 3 members of Damnation are walking up, but Diana here, we could look to see her potentially take this. She's going to steal it away from Crimson. Oh no, who's just sitting at 1 mark currently, better than 0, but nowhere near towards that 4 mark that he needs for his first upgrade.
Yeah, 1 mark at 8.5 minutes is pretty rough. He's got his mark on the Rise right now, so he might be looking for something mid lane here soon. Though Rise is pretty hard to gank, because he just rune prisons. But with the TF yellow card, makes it a lot easier. So we'll have to see how it goes, but Rise knows the mark is on him, so I'll be surprised if he pushes up far enough to allow a gank to happen. Yeah,
interestingly enough, this TF is actually up gold on top of this Rise, and is able to really pressure him, even though Rise does have that bounty from the kills he was able to get. And he's actually up CS as well, but due to the Twisted Fate passive, Twisted Fate is actually up gold on him, so we'll have to see how that goes in the mid lane. As Crimson here is falling definitely behind of his jungle counterpart, as he goes forward once again with the Hex Flash. Like you said, you can just sort of spam it and not really get punished for it. And it looks like he's just looking to put constant pressure on top of this this Kai'Sa and this Rakan, looking to make sure that they're not going to have an easy time farming.
Yeah, this is not a good lane for Rakan, because even if the Set Hex flashes in, doesn't get in range, and Rakan's like, oh, I want to counter engage. As soon as he counter engages and W's in, Set's just gonna press E. He's just gonna stun him or like pull him in. It's just not a very good lane for Rakan. It's pretty hard to make anything happen. Yeah, as we see the flash coming forward once again, or the Hex Flash, excuse me, as Xayah is able to stun off the Kai'Sa, and she's almost dead. The Diana is here, but she's just basically not even really able to do anything, as it's just a straight 2v2 kill. As speaking of this, oh, Rise gets stunned up, tried to use the Realm Warp, but was not able to do so.
And the shutdown going the way of Crimson, that is exactly what he needs. The mark going the way of him as well. The Diana ultimate comes out. They want to catch this Rakan, but did they have the movement speed to do so? Oh, and Rakan casts his Q and puts him in range of that set E, and that is going to mean that he is going to get killed. But fortunately enough, Kaisa and Kindred are both coming down. They could look to potentially make a play, as they don't really have the Herald, so they don't have the ability to push this tower very hard. And Crimson being able to pick up that shutdown is going to be a little bit further up ahead. We'll have to see what he looks to go for. Looks like he's going to go for his Gromp and opt to reset. But fighting all around the map, the gold lead is now ballooned to 2k for World Enders at 10 minutes. Excuse me, 11 minutes. We'll have to see what Damnation are going to be able to do to get back into this game, as they do have the Twisted Fate ultimate available, so they do have the tools available to make something happen. As actually Diana is looking to stay and punish this Kaisa even further. Oh no. Crimson is not here. She's walking up alone. Please stay careful, as she is going to survive due to a little bit of a misplay. I think a miscommunication from World Enders, but surely she should have died there.
Yeah, if World Enders had just been a little bit more patient, Kaisa would have walked up to start last hitting, and it would have been tragic.
Yeah, as Diana is spending all of her time here in this bot side, but fortunately enough for Crimson, that should mean that he's going to be able to invade and take away the Gromp and steal the mark away. But that means his bot side is going to be at a huge detriment, as it looks like he's going to pick up his Raptors along the way. But Diana here just refuses to leave this bot lane, is trying to get her bot lane ahead, and it looks like she was successfully able to do so.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time there, though. We don't see Crim moving into the jungle yet for the Gromp, though.
Yeah, it looks like he's opting for the Rift Herald instead. It would be interesting. I think he just wants the guaranteed advantage, because this will impact his team even more than the mark will impact him personally. So we'll have to see if he's going to go for it afterwards. You know, Diana probably thinks it's already gone, so she's less likely to path that way. Although she didn't see him on top of the ward, it is very easy for him to just walk around and get it that way. We'll have to see what he's looking to go for. Him pathing upwards, we could potentially see him look to gank top, but it looks like he can't decide exactly where he wants to go. Looks like he is going to go towards that top lane. And we do see him hop over now. They should see Kindred on the ward. I don't see pings coming out, but maybe they're communicating it verbally. As Dragon is spawning in 6 seconds, it looks like it's just going to be a trade of objectives.
Yeah, the objective trade, I guess, Rift Herald plus the Gromp mark for probably Dragon. We're going to assume that World Enders is going to pick it up here, unless anything crazy happens.
Yeah, I would doubt that the side of Damnation are going to be able to pick it up unless just like a suicide TF ultimate into the pit and steals it that way. But we'll have to see that it doesn't happen. You know, Crimson here is in this mid lane now, is on 3 marks, importantly enough, just 1 mark away from that range upgrade and the abilities upgrade that he desperately needs. As Diana is here, they're going to walk forward, flash on top of this Rise. Diana just immediately walks away, accepts that her Rise is dead, but I don't think she had to, as Rise is able to flash away and get to safety. But it looks like a little bit of a misplay from Diana there. Could have potentially looked to turn that.
Definitely could have looked to done something there. It might have worked out for them. It might have not. If Rise stayed around to fight, though, he also might have died. So, you know, hard to say. Have to go back into a time machine and replay it and see for sure. But
importantly enough, the gold lead continues to balloon in World Enders' favor. We'll have to see what Damnation are going to look to do to counteract that, as they are able to blow the Rise flash, but if they don't abuse the fact that he has no flash, then it really doesn't matter. And I do believe that Crimson will be able to do so. As Kench goes forward, Diana is here to potentially look for the dive. It looks like they haven't sniffed this out just yet. We'll have to see what Silas is able to do. As Diana is here, Tahm Kench aggressively walking forward should signal and make it very obvious, as Rakan is walking up as well as the Kindred. So they are on a time frame here. We'll have to see if World Enders are going to sniff out that they're getting collapsed on. As Silas goes forward here, the Diana ultimate comes out, the TP comes out, as, oh my god, he just gets absolutely bursted. He is going to get eaten. Diana taking up the tower, the flash comes out from Rakan, but the World Enders are stepping way too far forward, as a nice little 2 kills going the way of Kindred, and she was able to pick up that 4th mark, so she does have the first upgrade. Very important for Kindred.
yeah, she gets that bonus attack damage, or gee, I can't speak. That bonus attack range, which is huge for Kindred.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. That first upgrade really allows her to start being a champion, and it is really going to abuse the side of World Enders, who are very short range. And she did opt to go for that Kraken Slayer as well. So this Tahm Kench and the set are going to be very easy for Crim to just kite out and then look to punish later in the game. As you can see, 3 members of Damnation up here in the top lane. Looks like they're going to take this top tier 1. And World Enders are looking like they want to respond with taking that mid tier 1.
We'll see if they're able to take the mid-tier one. We've got Kaisa there defending it. She clears waves pretty well with her Q, so she should be able to defend this. Rakan's in the area as well, Rise in the area, but I don't think they're going to be able to look at that tower movement.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The Rift Arrow did get the second charge on top of the top tier 2, so a nice little chunk of damage on top of there. We'll see what Kindred opts to go for her second item. I think Kindred has a lot of versatility with those itemization choices. We'll have to see what she opts to go for, as her mark does pop up to be the red buff.
And Diana's going to pick that up right away.
Yep, just stealing that away. A little bit of an unfortunate thing for Kindred. You know, sometimes your marks do just appear on the camp that the enemy jungler is doing, and you don't even get a chance to even try and make a play around it, which is a little unfortunate, but Crimson already sitting at 4 marks, shouldn't be too depressed about it. You know, sitting at his first power spike, and really, you know, anything past that is just extra. You really only want the first 4 marks, and if you can get anything extra, great. If not, then no problem.
Yeah, you can definitely make it work with just the 4. Obviously, you prefer to have more, but you don't want to risk your life and, you know, risk giving over any extra gold, especially with a bit of a shutdown on him to the other team, because he'd have to invade for any marks at this point. They're not going to spawn on the epic monsters yet, I don't believe. So it's going to be deep in the jungle, the buffs, the gromps, the krugs, and you have to make a pretty deep trek, and you have to know where the Diana's at if you're going to do that. You can't just walk in blindly.
Absolutely. As we will see the Diana, or excuse me, not the Diana, the Kindred pick up the Sereda Dirk as well. So looking to go into that collector second item, looking to snowball his lead, as they are looking to punish Itzy here, who is too far forward, forced to blow the flash. Does have the Haymaker available. We'll have to see if Damnation chased too far, but it looks like they're going to be content with that. And Itzy forced off the map for a little bit. It does mean that Damnation has the ability to potentially look for an advantage. As you can see, the members of World Enders recalling, looking to get their wards, looking to get their items that they have. The stopwatches importantly picked up on top of Diana and Rise, and no stopwatches on the side of Damnation do mean that they're going to have to successfully target these members in order to make this dragon fight go well. As fortunately enough for Damnation, they did roll the console, as Xayah here stepping way too far forward, forced to use the ultimate and the flash. Not able to get anything, but both of those gone does mean that most likely this dragon is going to go the way of Damnation.
It should go the way of them at this point, and it'll be the first dragon for them. Nice pickup at this point. TF's in the top lane. He does not have TP, but he does have ultimate to make his way down if he needs to. Tom also has TP. It looks like World Enders is going to try to contest this dragon.
Yeah, as the director camera is showing us this top lane fight instead of the river. As now we see Kai'Sa is split off from the majority of her team, so it's going to be very hard for her to enter. She needs to walk around and regroup with her team in order to make that happen. The dragon is spawning in 0 seconds, as it is awake. Tahm Kench is TPing forward. Okay, the Diana ultimate misses, but Rakan and Kindred are stuck. They're not able to make anything happen as the Kindred ultimate comes out, buys time. We'll have to see how the burst is afterwards as the Haymaker goes wide. And, oh, Diana gets a huge 3-man kill. Absolutely massive for World Enders. And that was just a disaster fight for Damnation, not really playing it the way that they should have.
Yeah, again, it comes back to what I mentioned earlier too. In 5v5 fights, DN doesn't have the best team fight here, especially if World Enders gets the jump on them and they're the ones engaging. It's really hard for them to turn and fight them because they don't really have any front line to just absorb all that damage that's just barreling towards them.
Yeah, the Kindred ultimate was a little bit questionable there, but I think it was trying to make the best of a bad situation where they were really messed up with their positioning, and they had the Kai'Sa split and they were getting TP'd on, and they just did not have anywhere to go against that team. They really needed a better starting position for that fight, and because of that, they were just absolutely smashed them in that fight.
And as you mentioned earlier, we are going to see the Collector second for Crim on Kindred. I would have liked to seen him go LDR here second, just for the Tahm Kench and the set. I think it would have done a ton of damage to both of those, and you know, made it a lot easier to just tear through them. As we see the Kai'Sa going for Collector second as well. So neither of them are opting for the LDR here. I think LDR is just a broken item. It's kind of insane the amount of stats and damage you get from it, especially in a game like this where you're going to make use of it off of potentially 4 of the other people, or potentially 4 of the people on the other team, the bonus 15% damage.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge item as well, and with the enemy champions, you know, you have this set, you have this Tahm Kench, who are automatically just going to go to a little bit more of a tanky build style. That armor penetration is going to be way more valuable than that lethality, so a little bit of an interesting itemization choice. We'll have to see what they're looking to go for. They could potentially just be looking to one-shot the squishier members and look to play off of that. But if the fight goes the way that it did around that dragon fight, it could be very disastrous for Damnation, as they are now 20 minutes into the game, 5k gold behind. You know, pretty much a mirror of the other game where they were so far ahead at this point. And really now the game is World Enders to throw, as Crimson fails that jump a little bit. Unfortunate. Happens to the best of us, but with no camps up, he really has nothing to do, and could potentially look to make an aggressive play around this Tahm Kench, as the mark does not go the way of Crimson as well. Spawns on top of the blue buff, as Diana is doing it, unfortunately enough. And they could look to potentially kill this Tahm Kench. He does have the W available, so he could look to get away. He is going to W forward, interestingly enough, and oh no, Crimson. As Diana just goes for the auto stopwatch, not sure about that one. As Crimson is forced out of the fight, they don't really have the ability to go for anything more. He is going to eat the Tahm Kench, and is going to be able to pick him up, but Diana picks up the Kindred and is going to pick up this Rakan as well. As maybe, no, it will go the way of Ryze instead. And it looked like that fight was going really well for Damnation, but Crimson, importantly enough, getting hit by that Tahm Kench W does mean that he gets knocked up. He gets absolutely bursted by the Diana, and she buys so much time for her Tahm Kench that they were able to pick up that fight 3-for-1.
Yeah, it started off really well for DN. Tahm Kench, like you said, just able to live long enough through his shields and health and all the defensive stats he's built in. His carries were able to come and help him out.
Yeah, and speaking of, because there were 3 members dead, the members of Warlanders just immediately hopped on top of the Baron. Set doing his best to tank up the damage, and they are going to be able to secure it. And that means now it's 21 minutes, we're sitting at 7k gold lead, almost 8k. We'll have to see how Damnation are going to try and get back into this game.
They're also on Soul Point here, which, you know, for people like Set, for people like... It's even pretty good for Xayah, but it's really good for the Diana. The Cloud Soul. Just bonus movement speed on the ult.
Yeah, as we do see a play coming out here in the top lane, the Sylas chains go wide. Are they going to be able to stun him up? Oh my god, they're not able to. Sylas even using his flash, but Ryze able to get away due to a little bit of a mismanagement of abilities there from Damnation.
Yeah, unfortunate, but Ryze was able to kite it out and make it out of there alive. Probably shouldn't have been able to, but nonetheless he did.
Yeah, a little bit of a robbery happening for the Ryze, able to take that CS and able to get away pretty much scot-free. Did have to use his flash, but you know, all water under the bridge. The next objective will be that Cloud Dragon in a minute. All 3 dragons going the way of Warlander so far, as Rocket here is way too far forward. Is going to get Diana ultimate, is going to get ignited. It looks like they are going to potentially look to save him, but Diana flashes forward once more. Looks like he's going to decide against it due to the tower being there. But the flash coming out from TF going way too far forward. Kindred is nowhere near, and this is almost certainly a losing fight for Damnation, as Sylas is going to go down, Kai'Sa is going to go down, TF is going to go down, not just yet. The Kindred ultimate is going to save him for now, but he is going to go down now. Someone kill him. Thank you. As the Set flash goes forward, it's going to pick up Kindred as a nice ace for Warlanders. They could potentially look to get an inhibitor here and then go for the dragon afterwards.
Yeah, they can definitely crack base here. I don't know if they'd want to. If they think they can end the game in the next like 5 or so minutes, then they can definitely get inhib here. But if they don't think they're going to be able to end it in that amount of time, I'd probably leave it up, just because the amount of gold that'll funnel into the mid lane here, especially it being the shortest lane, will help Damnation get back into it.
Oh, interestingly enough, the Serrated Dark did not end up being the Collector. It looks like both of these characters went for the Serpent's Fang instead, opting to dissuade the shielding of Tahm Kench. You know, Diana Ryze a little bit of shielding, and the Set as well. As this 4th dragon is going to go the way of Warlanders. Now Elder is on the board. And we'll see that in 6 minutes, and we'll have to see if Damnation are going to be able to make a miracle play in order to get back into this game.
So, I like the Serpent's Fang on one of them, but I wouldn't cake it on both of them. I think one is enough to negate healing or to negate shields here. I'm not sure if 2 of them they're getting that much value out of the second one.
Yeah, as well on Kindred, it's also not that really applicable until you get your rune ends or a way to apply it to multiple characters, as you're really only going to be able to be hitting the front line here, so this Tahm Kench and the Set, who are going to have good shields. But you also want to hit this Diana as well, as her W shield really allows her to go in and play very aggressively. So we'll have to see, you know, how that works out. As Damnation here firmly on the back foot, not really able to make anything happen. Crimson not even able to farm his own jungle. Just forced to kind of walk around with this team and potentially look for a play.
And this is the point of the game where you hate to play jungle. Your laners are taking the lane CS. You're getting the scraps because the enemy team is just farming up your camps the whole time.
Yeah, as you can see, 3 members of Damnation here. Sylas here is just going to ultimately go down to this Tahm Kench, not even close. The Ignite put in there for good measure, but I'm not sure he even needed it, as the top lane tower is going to get hit now, get taken. And it looks like Damnation here is splitting. They can't decide where they want to go, as the Diana ultimate will go wide. And we'll have to see, you know, how Damnation are going to be able to stop the bleeding here, as Tahm Kench is taking the inhibitor. Kai'Sa went up there to stop her, but I don't think she can, as Damnation are willingly taking a 5v4, or 4v3, excuse me, As two members go down, it looks like Kindred will be the next. She does have the ultimate available, as Kaisa is going to get taken down as well. It's going to use her ultimate now, but Kindred is almost assuredly dead here. As we'll have to see, the stopwatch goes out. The Zaya Feather is going to take her out. And that should be a 2-0 for Woodlanders, putting a very dominant performance over Damnation. So we'll have to see if Salis is able to pull off heroics here. He does go forward, does have multiple members, but doesn't channel the Diana ultimate before he dies. That's so sad. As that is going to be one kill traded back. It's a nice little shutdown, but the game going the way of Woodlanders here as they're just playing with their food. They really want this extra KP. Respectable. As you see the sit-ups coming out as well. And a nice 2-0 performance of Woodlanders. As someone left the game early. Shake my head. But that's a nice little victory for them. And that's going to push them forward in order to face the GME next week.
And as I said, they were able to end the game in the next 5 minutes, so taking the inhib there was the right play for them.
Yeah, it's very nice for them. You know, Woodlanders having a very strong comeback performance in that first game, able to come back from a pretty large deficit. Not really able to fall too far behind, if I could speak English. And Damnation here, you know, had a very strong performance in that first game, but it did ultimately end up getting outskilled with a lot of questionable team fights that threw the gold back. And then the second game, they just pretty much had no opportunity to come back into the game, sitting in a gold deficit for the majority of that second game.
Yep, falling behind early on their comp, and then getting into 5v5 team fights just didn't work out for them in the end.
Yeah, as we will be going ahead and starting to move in players for the interviews, as we are going to go ahead and get the overlay synced up as well. There we go. As we have one coming out on top on this very successful game, and we will be going ahead and start moving in the players for interviews. And first, we have Damnation. Yo, crew.
Oh, my back. No, I'm just kidding. Yo.
Yo. I mean, you put on the Kindred performance, but unfortunately enough, you know, Kindred not able to carry you out of this game.
Well, I mean, when I was playing Zin, you know, I had no distractions, and then I don't know, man, I had to act up. And like I went the Kindred skin, I was like, you know what? Which skin, you know, doesn't have the shoes? And then I tried like my best. I put on a Spirit Blossom, and I was like, it's not sussy enough. I tried the red and black chroma, not sussy enough. Tried the normal, not sussy enough. I tried the pink, man, I was biting my lip all game. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I was biting my lip very aggressively. I might have gotten some tissues because there was some bleeding, and it was not from my nose.
As you know, were able to pick up the Kindred. I think a lot of people were expecting to pick it up a lot earlier, but unfortunately the Kindred did go down as your last game in Season 5, and I gotta say, you know, with your guys' final performance, did you expect that you would get knocked out of this stage of the playoffs, or did you think you're going to be able to make it a little bit farther?
I mean, expected, no, but at the same time, we set ourselves up to like just brace for impact, if that makes any sense. We're like, I don't know, we're not like too sad. I think that we played really like good first game. Second game, it was kind of like we're just in a in a hole, and like we just can't seem to climb out. But first game was like probably one of our better games, if not like the best showing that we have had versus like World Enders. This is a really good team. Like no disrespect to them or anything like that. It's although we may have played like garbage, like some of the games in the KDL, like regular season and even playoffs. I think like I don't know, the jungler of Raikin and Harsha, which is the support turned mid laner, are really really good. Leaf is always really good on Zaya. Ugu is like really good on Garen, and that's kind of why we had to constantly ban out his Garen. Like these are players that are not bad at all, and I know I'm really looking forward to them versus GME. For me, I'm looking at the bottle right now, and I might just take a swig.
A little bit of the non-alky to maybe dissuade a little bit of
It's peach flavored.
Oh, it's peach flavored.
Yo, I got some fuzzy peach flavored. Yeah, it's like the candy.
As you know, unfortunately, this game did not go the way of you guys, and neither did the first game as well. I think Crimson, a lot of people were spectating that first game performance. He had such a strong performance on the Zinzao. Did you feel like it was a champion difference that you weren't able to have the same kind of effect of this game, or did you feel like it was maybe just like a mental block, or what ended up happening that we didn't see a similar performance in the second game?
Second game was just, I think, execution difference. First game, I've been in a really big slump for League. Last night I was playing with Kyokyung Tanner. Sorry for doxing Tanner. And you know, he sat me down and he said, "Crimson, you're shit." And you know, that really stuck with me. And so like I've just been trying to apply that, and he told me something that, you know, I think a lot of people need to hear as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna get into what that is because no, I'm not gonna tell you. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. Tanner helped me out a lot. That first game was clearly evident because of it. I think execution was good on that game. We just had a couple of bad fights here and there. Um, you know, props to World Enders. We barely won some of the fights. You know, if it wasn't for Gore Drinker or just them not focusing me or whatever, you know, there's a lot of fights that they could have just won out really, really early on. Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
and unfortunately for
I
you guys, it did end up meeting in your defeat. I think a lot of people were maybe expecting a little bit more of this roster, but you guys still had a pretty good performance in the round robin, placing above the likes of JJT. So that's a little something that you can hold in your hat, as I'm sure who
Yeah, I
will.
mean, things could be worse, but you know, at least we're not Jujitsu Tech.
Yeah, very true. As I will have to see how they perform against ABD. Warlanders will be moving on to GME, but unfortunately for you guys, this will be your last game of Season 5. And I think some people are asking, you know, there's been some rumors around that Crimson may have been bought out to potentially serve INS next season. But Raul, are we going to see another iteration of Damnation next season, or are you going to look for something entirely new?
Well, someone promised Raul a Fortnite emote dance, and that was enough apparently to sell my contract. So I'm no longer on World Enders. Or sorry, Damnation Originals on World Enders. World Enders, World Enders, pick me up. World Enders, pick me up. Get me off this team. But yeah, like they gave him the dancing emote where the guy puts the L on top of his forehead and kicks his feet. I think, you know, this team is not going to be known as Dab Nation, but might just be, you know, the L Takers or, you know, the L Dance or whatever next season because Raul really likes that skin. But yeah, I mean, jokes aside though, I'm really happy at least that I could be on a team that broke Rocket's 0-win KDL streak across every single season.
Congratulations, my man.
You know, 5 seasons, and I finally proved that, you know, he is that bad. And then, like, I don't know. At least we got more wins in full build. So I mean, at least we got that chip. At least we got that chip. Yo, we might go down, but we're going down with 3 wins, baby. Let's go.
So this man got bought out pretty hard.
Yo, honestly, after that game ended, I hit up my agent. I said, "How much RP did we get?" He told me 0. You know, I'm kind of depressed, but yo, let's go. We're going for 4 wins next season. Let's go.
I was ending off with a little bit of a mental high note here, but we will be going ahead and dismissing you guys. You know, best of luck.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, what's up?
Raul always gets 4th place, and so I had to humble him and get 5th place. I had to make sure he gets 5th place this time around. He's been getting 4th too many times. I said, you know what? He needs an ego check. He legit, he legit said, "Let's go." He legit said, "Let's go." Hold on. You know why we lost this last game? It's not execution dip at all. I just remembered. It's literally draft dip, and Raul hates when I say draft dip, but I swear to God it is. We have Kindred, Kaiser 280 carries, right? Right?
Yeah.
Just hear me out.
Yeah.
We blind Silas for some reason. We're like, yo, Silas mid, baby. And then last second, Raul is like, yo, give me Lucian. And we're like, 380 carries? And he's like, never mind, TF. And so that's why Melody had to play Silas randomly.
I did not ask for the Silas top.
Oh my God.
I was simply given it and I'm told good luck.
Oh my God, man. Please, I'm in pain. Someone give Rocket coaching. Please, dear God. Please, dear God. This is not the laughter of someone who's happy. Please save me. Please.
All right.
Shoot, I'm going from one Enchantress player to another. Save me. Save me.
As you made the
At least
best.
this next one plays Lulu. Rocket doesn't know how to play Lulu. We tried playing Lulu and we got smashed. What the hell? The champion is broken. How do you lose on Lulu? Oh my God.
You know, you guys made the best of a bad situation. You know, like you said,
He's
you are
definitely
gonna
not
end
getting
up.
a KDL jersey. I'm giving him a KDL jersey, and it's gonna be my face with the thumbs down. That guy sucks. That guy sucks. That guy's dookie. Come on, man. Support's so easy.
True,
Aframu
support
literally said
easiest
this.
rule.
Aframu said that 4 years ago. What the
Support's
hell?
so easy.
True.
What the hell?
As you know, you guys had a little bit of banter. We're gonna go ahead and get you guys out of here. You made the best of a bad situation. I think you're finishing up 5th place. I'll have to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah,
New player difference. Rel's from Sweden, and that's why we lost.
true. As we will be going ahead and getting you guys out of here and pulling in World Unders. And good luck. Maybe we'll see you next season.
I'm gonna go touch grass. Thanks.
As now we're gonna go ahead and pull in the members of World Unders. I want to get a little bit of their perspective on how these games went. All right, we do have the members of Wardas in here today, and I think a lot of people may be a little bit surprised you guys ended up going 2-0 today, just having such a dominant performance over Damnation. Did you expect that it would end up in this 2-0 fashion? Did you maybe expect a 2-1, or how are you predicting these games to go as you were preparing for them?
Never a doubt in my mind.
Never a doubt.
Never ever a doubt in my mind that we will beat these shitters. I'm sorry. I mean, Rocket. Rocket's the shitter. Rocket's the shitter. The rest of the team's fine. Yeah.
And I gotta say, you know, a lot of people may have been looking to your mid lane performance this series, but you ended up swapping into the support role for both of these games.
I'm telling you, bro. My team's bullying me, bro.
You get forced into the
bullying me.
support role by the team, or what ended up
Yeah.
happening?
Bullying me. I'm not lying. Help me.
Harsha is just
Someone
too
send help.
good. Harsha's too good. We have to go have him mid.
Oh,
all it is.
unlucky.
Also, Harsha doesn't like playing like Rakan and shit like that bot lane. Shit that plays for the support. He likes playing
Yeah.
mids. So
Also note for next time, taking Rakan instead of taking Zaya is a misplay. If you wanted to take one away, you take Zaya away, not Rakan.
100%.
As I'm sure that will go in their notebook for next season, right next to their complaints about Rocket, but we'll have to see. You know, you guys are going forward with the bracket. You'll be moving into the semifinals against GME. You know, GME being the #1 seed, taking down the likes of Akatsuki as well. Do you guys feel like you have a good chance against them? Or do you feel like...
It'll be 2-0.
Oh, 2-0 easy. Can we expect like 20-minute wins, or are they going to go a little bit longer?
It'll be about
relax.
the same as this, I think. We did some practice in normals and strengthened our team coordination because we were really all over the place during whatever you call it before playoffs.
Round robin.
Round robin, yeah, that. We didn't have very good coordination. We didn't even switch Harsha to mid until like second half of the round robin. So we have more of a better team comp going on here.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys certainly had things figured out. You had such a strong performance against Damnation, even coming back from a very large goal deficit in the first game. And I gotta say, you know, when you guys were behind in that first game, did you expect that maybe you might get 0-2 now, or were you always confident that you're going to be able to come out with the 2-0?
No, we had the better comp in both games. In the first game, all we had to do was shut down the Xin, and Xin Zhao's love to give their shutdowns away.
It was kind of similar to our game against them in the round robin, where they had a lead early, where the Wukong was kind of fed and the jungler was kind of fed. But it I feel like if they're gonna do anything, they have to start playing around being ahead. They weren't looking for enough shit. We were looking for plays on them mostly, even though they were ahead of us in the first game. Is what I felt like, at least.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that they could potentially look to do if they do keep the same roster. I know Crimson was already bought out. I gotta say, you know, if you guys continue on and you're able to beat GME, or even if not, could we expect to see the same iteration of this team in the next season, or are you guys potentially looking for maybe new pastures once the season is over?
Gotta replace AC, you know. We're gonna try to buy Stu out, you know, or bribe Stu, you know. We're gonna get you going for us, and then like we'll be good, you know.
And my
Code
pain,
can
bro.
find another support, dude. I heard INS has some good supports.
So we'll have to see how that goes. And I gotta congratulate you. I see you did end up winning the MVP vote for the series. And I gotta say you
I
did
don't know
have.
how, bro. People
Yeah,
are
I mean
fucking
you
trolling.
had some strong performances. Like I said, well, you gotta say to your fans who voted for you.
I guess I don't know who my fans are, bro. I don't have any fans. No,
I mean,
don't
obviously
know.
you
I
do.
don't know what to say, bro.
Obviously you do.
Apparently I do, bro. I didn't even know I had fans, bro.
Yeah, what did you know?
Don't
We've
worry,
got a
bro, don't
Discord
worry.
set up on the side, SC Fan Club. I think we only have around 15 people in there now, but we are recruiting. We do some rallies now and then.
Aye, relax. Relax, buddy. Nah, I think it's nice of people to try to boost my ego, but fine, my ego will never get bigger.
Yes, we'll have to see, how that goes. Potentially a win against GME could boost it. I wouldn't throw that out of the picture. We'll have to see how you guys perform against them. As after a strong performance today, I think a lot of people are maybe a little bit questioning GME's strength now due to the performance that you guys had today. And we'll wish you guys good luck and go ahead and get you guys out of here.
Thank you.
I gotta
Thanks
say-
for
All I gotta say is I 5x my channel plan. So let's go.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, also we might have a surprise for GME.
Oh,
I won't
no.
say anything more than that.
All right, strike a little
Yeah,
fear into their
we're gonna
hearts.
have 5 placeholders. We're gonna have 5 placeholders.
Oh, please, dear God, no. All right, we'll go ahead and get you guys out of here and good luck.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. See you.
All right, as we did go ahead and get them out of here, and that is going to wrap up our broadcast for today. And we will be getting with you guys next game. The next game will be ABD versus JJT. From what I can tell from the team captain chat, it looks like we're looking at a potentially or a Friday or a Sunday date. So if you're looking to see when that game will happen, go ahead and join the Discord and stay in there. We'll have the game posted when they do end up scheduling it, but we will be seeing you guys around that date. And thank you guys for tuning in today, and we will catch you guys next time.